Hi guys, Isabella Greene here. Today I would like to talk to you about emotional processing of rejection through dragon fire. This is kind of taken it to the next level. I have a video on online about emotional processing of acceptance versus judgment, and that's the kind of more down-to-earth thing. But after we process that, and we process that at the beginning of December 2017, building up to our solstice and the powerful energetic adjustments on the planet, another layer came in, and that was processing rejection versus love, which also ties in with acceptance. But this one actually came in for also a lot of people, and the processing was done in a very similar manner that I'm going to share with you. The manner that blew my mind, because the dragons were involved. And I'm not just talking about my own self. I actually had a conversation about this with someone who never even said the word dragon to me ever. I didn't even think that that concept was anywhere within that person's reality. The possibility of seeing a dragon, let alone being a dragon, right? And so when I was discussing processing of love versus rejection, acceptance versus judgment with that person on the phone, and I was thinking, I want to make sure that I don't mention the dragons. And all of a sudden she mentions the dragons herself. And so that blew my mind. And after that, I just for the fun of it, I started testing that out and asking people, so what happened? Have you experienced any dragon activity lately? And the amount of people that told me yes, I turned into a dragon to process anger, rejection versus love, blew my mind. So I guess that was another layer here, and I want to share this with you. So we know rejection hurts. Rejection, we think, comes from us not being good enough. And man, us not being good enough, that whole unworthiness, low self-worth thing, that is the most common state of being for humanity, right? So that's painful altogether. But we believe that if we are good, if we're better, if we're do our best to be our best, then rejection is not going to happen. But in many cases, in a lot of cases, probably I would say 50% or more cases, rejection happens not because we're not good enough, but because we're too good. Do you know what I mean? I mean, how many women have experienced that we were told growing up, hey, don't act too smart, don't be too strong, don't be too bright around your man because you'll get rejected, right? Have we heard that? Or people getting fired because they're smarter than their boss, or they outsmart the boss, or they do their job better than the boss, right? Or people being pushed out of their friend social circles or circle of friends because the friends feel intimidated in some way, or either jealous or they're competitive, and they keep the ones who are kind of like more shine less brightly, but the ones who shine the brightest get pushed out. And so for us as human beings who are struggling with self-worth issues, right, and always trying to be the best, you want to be the best, right? That's what we're trained to do. When you're doing your best, all of a sudden you're rejected. What happened? Oh my God, right? That does not compute in there. But if you look at it, it is true. For those people who are in relationships where there are intimacy issues, right? The more love there is, the more rejected they get. And that makes no sense, right? When the person says, hey, you know what, while it was superficial and fun, I wanted you, but now then there's a true connection in the depth, I'm terrified and I'm running away. No, it doesn't, it's not spoken because it's not conscious, but that's a very common behavior too. So the good thing comes in, and with it comes rejection, right? So yeah, we've all been through that. I'm laughing here because I've processed a lot, and so I'm not in pain about this. I can laugh about it. But for a lot of people, it's painful. It's painful and it's confusing too. Like, oh my God, I'm the best of the best. I've done everything I could. I've shined so brightly. I have offered everything I had, and I still got rejected. Well, maybe that's why you got rejected because you're too good for real, you're too good for someone else to handle, because it brings out their insecurities, it brings out their fears, it brings out their I don't know, intimacy issues or unavailability or fear of losing their job if it's a boss, whatever. So there's a match still there somewhere, fear of not being good enough, matching the fear of not being good enough, right? Literally. But when we go through that, it hurts. Rejection is one of the most uncomfortable stuff that we get to experience here on earth, because we're longing for unity, we're longing for oneness, we're longing for acceptance, we're longing to be loved the way we are. We were striving to prove our self-worth, and boom, all of a sudden we're rejected. So all that came up for processing. I sat down in my process, like I described for you in my meditation, and as I got deep into my subconscious, I found a lot of anger there. And this is called moving up in the emotional scale. First you feel hurt, right? You feel hurt, you feel down, you're crying, or you're disturbed. So that's distressed, depressed, the whole lower denomination there. It's painful. So you're in pain, and so you're paralyzed. But as you start moving up an emotional scale, the anger comes in, and from that point you can actually make a change. So I normally don't process stuff through anger, and I really did not expect that the anger was going to come in. But as I started digging through all of the situations in my life that I've experienced that, and when you really do thinking that you're doing your best and offering your best, and you get rejected regardless, that sucks. And so that actually had a lot of anger tied into this. And as I started experiencing that anger, I'm deep into my subconscious space in meditation, and I'm looking at all these situations, and all of a sudden it was like a movie thing of, the claws come out, the muscles come up, and here I am, I'm a dragon. And I have turned into a dragon that I have never experienced before. And it was a black and purple dragon. And I work with the white one. I worked with a couple white dragons, and these are my crew, the white ones. But here there's a huge, super armored, like the warrior dragon. Really not the peaceful variety, but something that is there to unleash the fire, to unleash the anger, and it's a war machine, right? So it comes out, and all of a sudden I'm inside of that. And that thing was like literally like stomping the ground, and I'm experiencing myself as that aspect of myself. Or the dragon came in, and I'm looking at it, kind of like part of me is looking at it going, oh my God, am I being pulled into the dark side, right? There's always that question. But the fire went out, and he was really, and I knew it was like a male aspect, right? Because it's a male form of processing. So through anger, that's a very male form of processing. So he's spitting fire, and he's stomping the ground, and there's like these scratches, and there's all that fire coming out. And I said, all right, I'm not gonna fight it. I'm gonna let it process, And so he literally burned with that fire. Like I could see the scales, I could see the muscles, I could see the whole state of the dragon, of me being in that state of the dragon, and processed every situation that was relevant, processed the state of being, and like slowly, the fire went down. It's just like still a little bit of that, glow right here, and then everything just calmed down, and he just laid down. And so my kind of concern, oh my God, what about the dark side, next thing I'm seeing is me as a girl, like the inner child, and all in white. That's why I'm wearing white here, because I was like that little white little girl, dressed in white, standing next to that dragon who's just laying down, and it's huge, and she's like petting him on the head, going, oh my God, thank you so much for helping me with this. And I've never had this kind of processing before, so I found that really, really incredible. The next day, or after, that was like in my nighttime meditation, right? So I got up the next day, peaceful and balanced like a Hindu cow. Seriously, just zero triggering in the space of rejection or any of that. Going like, wow, this feels so good. We just moved into a whole new emotional category, a whole new emotional space here. Thank you, dragon, for real. And was kind of wondering, should I share this? Should I not? This is kind of out there. And then I had this conversation with a friend of mine who is a CEO of big corporate structures, and very the person who, again, like, I did not expect to say anything about a dragon, but she said, well, you know what, I faced this inner turmoil, blah blah blah, the rejection thing, and then she said, I turned into a dragon. And I said, describe the dragon. And she said, first the nails came out, and it was green, and it had black horns. So she describes the same exact thing that happened to me. And if it was someone from my team here in Sedona, I'd be like, yeah, we're all doing the same thing. But there's someone like across the country from a very conservative environment describing that, I was like, well, I think the dragons came in to assist us. And then after that, I had a few more of these conversations with the people who were triggered into the anger space also, and processed the anger through that dragon fire. And after that, observe the dragons just calm down and be like, yeah, all right, done. So maybe this is a very healthy way of channeling the anger or releasing the anger, a very healthy way of burning off that bottom layer of the barrel, that sits there in the subconscious from pain of rejection. What I ended up feeling was just pure love. So we're talking about rejection versus love, right? I felt love and compassion after all of the stomping on the ground with the dragon and the fire and burn it off. Then he lay down, and the girl it pets him on the head, and then I feel compassion. There's this angelic aspect that came in. And I feel compassion and understanding for all the people who I experience rejection through. And that's all internal state, but they're there to facilitate. So the ones who facilitated that, and I'm seeing them as just being in fear, and the ones who they're seeking the same validation, they're seeking the love, they're seeking self-worth, they're scared, they're operating from a place of fear. And so compassion came in, and love came in, and peace came in, and I literally feeling like a different person since. So interesting, right? Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Dragons are in, and it was not something that, you know, turn into the dark, going for the dark. They came in from the dark to process the dark and pull you back into the light. So that's the balance. That's the 0 point of balancing love, compassion, understanding with processing the anger and rejection space. Alright guys, I love you. If you'd like to have a session with me, you can reach me at isabellagreene.com. More videos every week on YouTube and Facebook. Take care. Namaste.